Alright, what's up guys? So today I'm going to show y'all something really cool. I really enjoy this. This is a really cool thing to do with old parts, especially old frames, forks, bars, whatever. And it's super easy too, and it's really cheap. All you're going to need is a set of LEDs. You can get these really cheap on Amazon. That's what I did. And a pretty close setup to an outlet. I'll show y'all how I set mine up later. But this is really easy to do, and all you're going to need for this is those LEDs and a hot glue gun. Okay, so actually getting into it, this is what your frame's going to look like before. I already have this done, but some of it's coming off, so I decided to go ahead and show y'all how I did this. I've gotten a few questions on it, so I just kind of want to answer those and show y'all how I did this and show y'all how I think the best way to set this up is to where you don't see these LEDs whenever you're looking at it from the front. So right now, looking at it, you can't really see too much, but as you can see right here, some of this stuff was starting to come off, and the forks are just kind of moving, so I was just going to go ahead and redo some of this. So let me flip this over real quick and we'll go ahead. So here's what this is going to look like on the back. You're going to have all these LEDs on all the parts you want lit up. Really the hardest thing to do is find a way to line all these up. And whenever you're buying those LEDs, make sure you get some of these little connectors and stuff, because these aren't too flexible, especially the ones that are waterproof. So the difference between the ones that are waterproof and the ones that aren't is, as you can see here, this is a lot wider. That's because it's really thin. There's nothing covering it, but opposed to these, you can see a very visible difference there. These have this kind of like jelly like coating on them to make them waterproof. So for this, you definitely don't need it to be waterproof unless you think it's somehow going to get wet. I don't know how that would happen, but I'd honestly recommend the ones that aren't waterproof, because these being like having this little jelly coating on them, it makes them a lot harder to form how you want. These, as you can see, I kind of just bent them. You can put these little like rolls in it, like just like that, and that you can't really do with this, so it makes it a little harder to deal with. As you can see, the ones that I had a lot of trouble with, I just went ahead and peeled that off. Even if you do have the waterproof ones, you can't peel that off, and I'll show you exactly how to do that right now. All you have to do is it just comes right off. You just peel it just like this, and you can see it's just some sort of like kind of like jelly gel, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But there you go. That's all it takes. Boom. Throw that away. All right. So diving into it, this is going to be a quick video on how I did this and show you how I attached all of it. So some of these, this one did have an adhesive on the back of it, but you stick that on there, it gets a little bit of weight on it, and boom, it just comes right off, especially if it's super humid like it is here in Texas. So that's where the hot glue gun comes into play. All you're gonna have to do is put those down. I put a little bit overlapping all of these edges, that way if you just put it on the back, maybe it does get humid and it'll slip right off, but if you have a little bit of a lip on it, it's not gonna fly off of there. And like I said earlier, I started talking about this, but I didn't finish it. The easiest way to run this is I started right here at the bottom. You have to kind of map out where you're going to go with these, so you don't have a bunch of just loose ends and you can't keep going. So I went down the chainstay. I kind of went over the bottom bracket. Sorry, I just knocked something off. Oh well. But go over the bottom bracket with some of these little connecting wires. Run it up here, up to the front of the frame. And then this is the kind of tricky part. So I have a bunch of these little 90-degree angle things. All you got to do is put one of those on there, and also all these little copper looking things right there. Those are all cuttable, so you can cut them right there and put a little connector here. So you kind of have to measure it out that way. So just stick it on there and find the best spot where you can actually cut that. So like right here, I might have been able to get away with putting one more of these little links on here, but I just went with obviously what I have. So then you'll run this down here. I put another little connector right here because I actually ran out of this string. So I put a connector there, ran it down a little lower, put a connector across here, which as you can see in the picture right here, I'm gonna show you that right now. I surrounded my whole bike with Red Bull cans, and I kind of put two right where the tire would be, and then I just put a little bit of tape over this that kind of matched the color of the wall, so you can't even see it whenever it's lit up. And then so you'll run that back up here and then across the top of the frame. And this is the trickiest part. You'll have to run it into the seat post and come out the bottom bracket, and then run it up the seat tube and then down to the back of the frame where you started. Right here, you can just leave this off. You don't have to connect anything to that, and you're done. Okay. So seeing this, one of the other tricky things is once these move just a little bit, you can have two different colors happening. So my current problem is I'll have this lit up all like white, and then this string, and then this string, and this string will be blue, which it still looks all right, but if you want it all to be the same color, you're gonna have to kind of play with it. So before you really like secure these, make sure it's lit up the right color. So have this plugged in while you're playing with it. It's not gonna electrocute you, you'll be okay. And just make sure that everything is lit up the right color before you secure it. And even if you do, all you have to do is pull the hot glue off, kind of readjust a little bit, and put it right back on. Okay guys, so once you got your hot glue gun all heated up, and if you don't have a hot glue gun, you probably could use tape. If you, I don't know, you could do it. It might not last super long, and it'll be really difficult without having anything show on the front side, which is the most important part. This is also, if you're wondering why I was doing this to a frame, I cracked this frame right there, and you can kind of see that one right down there, but that's why I'm doing this. I wouldn't recommend doing this to a perfectly good frame unless you're just convinced you're never going to ride it again and would rather have it on the wall. But all right, so once you have that, let me get an extra little glue stick. So now that you got your glue sticks in here, you're just going to go ahead and just put a small little coat, like I said, under that. I want to press it down, let it get a little warm. And you'll just want to do this across the entire bottom. You don't have to do it under the entire thing. Just do it every few inches or so. The more you put on there, the harder it's going to be to come off. And it'll get a little hot. Watch out. Make sure you get in there really good. And then, so you're done with that. All right. So once you get that on there, obviously, like I said earlier, it's not going to stay just like that. So you'll kind of want to go, you'll just want to fill in some of these gaps, kind of have a little coat on the bottom of it, just like this. You'll kind of maybe even zigzag it if you want. I'm just going to put a very long strip across this entire bottom. And this should be enough, especially without that waterproofing on the top of it, for it to not come off. Without having a stem or bars or anything on here, obviously this isn't held in by anything. So you're going to want to go ahead, find the position that works best for it. I think mine's probably about right there. And then honestly, just jam as much hot glue as you can in here. Even if it doesn't hold it absolutely perfect, it'll give enough resistance to try to hold the form that it currently has. And you can do this on the top and the bottom, and that should hold that in place decently well. This is the most tricky one. This is the one that I have the most problems with as far as the colors changing. I already tested it. This works great, so I'm going to go ahead and put a big glob under there. And you really just want to make sure this isn't going anywhere, because if these move, you risk having to redo it and having different colors showing behind your bike, and obviously it's not really what you want. You want this to be a one and done thing, and that's what you're going to get. So really make sure you hold this down so it doesn't move at all. Okay, so that's good enough. Now I got to secure the last little thing on here, and that's this. This one was kind of coming up. Just put that back on there, and I'm going to do that kind of little bridge thing I did a second ago. This is a spot that'll really come undone. Alright, and that's pretty much it, guys. Yeah, so I'll finish the rest of the video at my place so I can actually show you how I hung it up on the wall, connected it, hid the wires and stuff like that to where it looks like it's just kind of floating there and has nice looking LEDs behind it. Alright, so here's where I went ahead and put the frame with the LEDs on it. I wouldn't recommend putting on the cans around it until you actually have it all set up, but here's what I actually used to secure it to the wall. I just got some of these little hooks from Walmart, and then some of those little like stick-on things to hold the forks up, so this holds the top tube that I bent out a little more, so it holds it better, and then this will hold the back of the bike, and then here is where it connects to the LED. So let me throw that up here real quick. That's where I put the back hold, and then the front, and then you can see that's holding that up right there. And I covered up those connecting wires. I'll get another piece of tape and cover that up, but for the most part you can't really see it's there. And then, so for this, I just spliced two of them together. I cut the hole, or I cut a hole out of the back of this, and that sticks right on top of there. So let me throw that on. I got that on there. Now you can barely even see it. If you really wanted to, you could put a piece of tape over that, cover that up, but I don't really mind it being like that. And then I have the wire running down right around the outside here, covered up with a little tape holding it on, and then plugged into something down there. Let me turn it on real quick. And there you go. And that's what it's going to look like.